there is a recognised condition, SAD, seasonal affective disorder.
Respond to our environment so we don't absorb that negativity.
Maybe I'm blessed to be this way, but I tie it back into maybe being introverted. Lee only lets me out when it gets dark.
Only if you've been good as well. Inspiration Nation, hello, Lee Kemp here for another week on the podcast. We are back to full strength again after Joe flying solo last week. How are we both, Joe and Ryan?
Yeah, not too bad.
I'm really good, thanks, Lee.
There we go. I didn't think you were going to answer the question. We're going to sit in silence for half an hour. That's going to be really awkward.
So you guys, how you guys doing for a week off the podcast? I did report last week that you weren't feeling too well.
I am feeling much better myself. Ryan, still a bit under the weather?
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm better than I was this time last week, for sure.
That's what we like to hear. And gratefully for the Inspiration Nation out there, we will be a lot better this week as well because Ryan and Lee are back and you don't have to just listen to Joe. So that is a win for everybody. Thank you, of course, for listening and enduring through last week. Catch us on social media at Listen to IN, Listen TOIN. Joe, of course, himself, Jose Noya, Inspiration Nation, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, all of them. He's everywhere. Get your daily dose of Joe by checking him out on social media as well.
And don't forget BitClout.
And also newly joined to BitClout. We do not endorse this platform, but check him out there too. Just put Jose Noya Inspiration Nation into Google and you will have a multitude of choices for Joe. So what are we talking about this week for inspiration, Joe?
First of all, just want to say welcome back, lads. It's always good to see you. And just want to know, I'll talk about it later. No. So this week we'll get you later, Lee. Don't worry. Ryan and me are going to get you later. So taking your weather with you, I want to talk about. Take your weather with you. So I want to talk about people. Some people go, oh, the weather. And they blame the weather for all their moods, everything that's happening around them. They don't actually take control of anything. So I'm just feeling bad because the weather's happened. The weather's bad. It's about their environment and they react to it. And I know we talk about their environment, but I want to talk about how we can get a better environment around us so we don't, can we respond to our environment so we don't absorb that negativity, so we're not influenced so much by our environment, and two, can we continue to create an environment that does support us rather than just rely on these external forces to influence our moods. And of course, if we influence our moods, influence our thoughts. If we influence our thoughts, and that's how we behave, and that doesn't help us get to where we want to be, it doesn't produce resilience. So I know when people talk about Mondays, I know we talk about Mondays on the podcast, didn't we? I'm sure there's an episode about it.
There absolutely is. You'll be disappointed now. I can't remember the episode number, but there 100% is.
And there I was. Hey, Kazza, welcome. And there I was thinking about, you being the experts. I'm sure I talked about yesterday. If Lee and Ryan were here, well, definitely Ryan knows what it is. But if Lee and Ryan were here, they would definitely get, what episode this would be. Anyway, it's about Monday, isn't it? And they go, it's not Monday morning. And it's that whole thing around it, the weather's bad and all that sort of stuff. So I want to talk about that. Have you had any episodes where you used to think like that, you two? Or you still may think a little bit like that about, the weather's bad, so I feel bad, or that didn't happen because of such and such, so I feel bad. You let these external forces influence your behaviours and the way you think.
I've never known anybody personally or myself that has blamed the weather for something not coming my way. But that doesn't mean I don't know that it isn't a thing. I think it kind of ties into the horoscope conversation we had a little while ago. I think unfortunate things happen to people, like, I don't know, smashing a glass or banging your elbow or something, and you would say, that's just my luck today. Had a bit of bad luck today or whatever. And as a result, people will just pin that on, my luck's been terrible this week or whatever. But those kind of things do happen, I guess. I think there are certainly some weeks and months where nothing unfortunate happens to you, and then in the space of a week, I don't know, you headbutt the wall trying to get out of a doorway. I don't, these things happen, didn't they? So in that aspect, yes, but I think that's more commonplace and more just down to a piece of unfortune or bad fortune. I've never had anything that I'm aware of been detrimentally affected by something completely external. Like, yeah.
It's really it's like a metaphorical question about taking that weather with you. It's like can you whether it's depends on what's going around with you. Can you like maintain that attitude of resilience?
And like you say, there's the philosophical bit, Joe, which we discussed a bit back in episode 53. Why do we hate Mondays?
Hey, there you go.
Podcast that I absolutely have not just looked up on my phone. Everyone out there, just head over to InspirationNation.org.uk to trawl through the archive. Episode 53, that is where we talk about it. I suppose I've got two thoughts on this, Joe. One is the bit you're talking about there that's more metaphorical, about taking the weather with you and creating your own environment. But before I move on to that, there's the other bit of it that, there is a recognised condition, SAD, seasonal affective disorder, where the amount of sunlight in particular, so it's not necessarily the rain as much as it is the cloud and the blocking of the light, is recognised to genuinely affect people's moods. And I think that's an accepted thing that does happen. And, gloomy days as opposed to sunlight does genuinely affect people's approach and how they feel about things. You get a lot, the old typical dating thing of I like rainy days and stuff like that would suggest that maybe that's not always the case for people, but that that is a recognized thing. So is this more about how you push past those feelings rather than just give into it?
Yeah, so it's like that is exactly that, right? So we know we have these things like seasonal adjustment disorder, and you get lamps for those, right? People have that therapy, and of course, it affects people in that way. So yeah, it's just really about how we can, draw on these things and not, what are the tools we can have? So for some people with seasonal adjustment disorder, which is just that disorder, they'll have their lamp as a, it doesn't matter what's going on outside, right? They can have their lamp and they can feel a little bit better about it because usually in the winter months, right?
Yeah.
Get affected, but they've got a strategy. And I think this is what I'm talking about. Like, do we have a strategy no matter what's going on around you? And I'm going to just quote Viktor Frankl from Man's Search for Meaning about him in the Nazi concentration camps, and that he was able to have meaning in his suffering. So irrespective of what was going on around him, he had this resilience about him, his purpose and his meaning. And I think, can we hold on to our purpose and meaning no matter what's going around us, no matter what's happening? Is there a way we can hold on to that and go through our days with this hope and energy and resilience to know that we can come out the other side and come out in a really positive way? And I'm not saying happy-go-lucky positive way, because some things are really difficult. I'm just trying to think.
Like genuinely positive, productive, you can carry on with your day type of mentality. And it's good you saying this, because I don't think I do for that. There's a lot of things, we talked about over all the episodes. Again, InspirationNation.org.uk, check out the archive. Lots of coping mechanisms of different systems. And we've talked about how we've all built our resilience up over the years and stuff like that. I don't think I've ever really thought specifically about coping mechanisms for when it's like those dark, gloomy days, and maybe it does have an effect. And maybe I don't even realize it has an effect. And actually, like you said, what is it? What are those skills? And you said there's stuff like light boxes and stuff that you can do where you've got the disorder. I don't think that's what I have, but it's, how do I keep that positive, upbeat mentality? And like a lot of these things are, and I'm going to try this next time it's a day like it. At the moment, you can kind of have that day, have a cloudy day and a sunny day and a rainy day and a snowy day all within 24 hours at the moment, because it's a bit crazy. But it's that first thing I think is that mental checkpoint is, right, I'm feeling it a little bit, or the conditions are there to make me feel it a little bit. What am I going to do to break out of it? What am I going to do positive? And I don't know, this might not work, but I don't know if I need to be more focused to what my goals are for that day. So I just draw in my focus a little bit and give myself opportunities to reward myself. Give yourself a grape, like our good friend Ryan would say.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I think maybe I'm blessed to be this way, but I tie it back into maybe being introverted. But I like all types of weather when I'm inside. Like I like hearing the rain against the window. When we were in the office, we used to get some quite crazy weather where I'm based. Or the sun that comes through You know, it warms up the place. It's quite nice. Each one of them, I think I find like a positive aspect. So maybe I'm just not affected morale or happiness wise, if you like, based on the weather. Be a bit different if I was like a PE teacher, if you like, and it was raining 6 days a week but sunny 1 day a week or whatever, you know. But I think based on the fact I work in an office, I don't really tend to have that problem. And being at home, my window's behind me, as you can probably see, so I don't really see much of the weather anyway. If it's sunny, the sun will come through, but other than that, I don't really get much attention paid to the weather. Lee only lets me out when it gets dark.
And only if you've been good as well. Do you think not seeing out the window has an effect on you?
No. Again, because I like sitting in and playing computer games, so it doesn't really make much of a difference, to be perfectly honest.
And I get what you're saying there, because I do have that bit. There's something quite comforting about being inside when it's raining outside and it's knocking on the window and stuff like that, and that can be quite a nice thing. But similar, and I'm just thinking through here, and again, it might be subconscious things, but we've talked in the past. Everyone knows where to look for podcasts in the past. About the fact that I kind of work in 20, 30-minute bursts. So I work intently for a bit of time, and then I need like 5 minutes to just walk away and decompress and come back and do a burst of work. And then that bit, and the day doesn't always go like that. Normally meetings last for an hour, so it doesn't give me such a break and stuff like that. But I'm just thinking it through. What I'll do, if I make a drink or something, I'll also kind of walk to the front of the house, look out the window, walk to the back, look out the window in the garden, and then come back to my desk. And it's not something I do consciously as much as subconsciously, but I don't know if that little bit of looking out on the world is one of those things that helps with the positivity. And I'm just going to have a check. I wonder if I do it more when it's sunny than when it's rainy. And I'm not saying I do, because I don't know how much it affects me, but I kind of want to, now you've put the idea in my head, Joe, I want to experiment with it a little bit and see what differences it makes.
I just think it's a thing around awareness, isn't it? I think it goes back to, isn't it? Are you aware of, and Ryan said, he's quite introverted, and so I think Ryan does look inside himself quite a lot, and I think you're very introverted as well, Lee. And I wasn't, but what happened to me made me much more conscious about how I feel inside. Because I'm quite an expressive person, but I'm much more aware. But when someone's talked about that, take your weather with you, I wanted to think and talk about how that can be done and whether we can be more aware of it. And so it's really interesting to think that, is it about whether it's sunny, whether it's cloudy, does that have an effect on how we're feeling? And what are we, like you said, Lee, totally aware of how it affects us? What are we saying when that happens? When people say, oh, it's bad outside, those words impact our moods. So shout out to Nina. Hi, Nina. Good to see you back here on the podcast. And so, it's just being conscious of our words when we say things, because no matter what you say, and I'm going to say this again, thoughts are things. Thoughts are things. And if you say them, they become part of you, because the things you say, you become. So this is why I'm really getting people to be really conscious about, when you're saying, oh, it's bad weather, I just feel bad, it's never a good day. It's all, those are the things that are going to shape you, shape your life, shape whether you hit your goals or not, and shape what you're going to achieve. So it's really important that we look at our language. But I just want to say to people out there is that if you get an opportunity, if you catch yourself going, oh, it's really cold, I really hate it, I don't want to go out, be aware of what you're saying. How is that making you feel? How is that making you sense things? And of course you may not want to go outside, that's fine. But are you using it in a way that's going to serve you or not serve you? Is it going to be in a way that makes you step into the day, even if it is terrible outside? Can you step into there with determination to see through what you need to do? And Ryan, I know you segued into a PE teacher, I like that. But if I was a PE teacher, could I still be a PE teacher and still be amazing, even though it's horrible outside, as well as an office worker, and still be happy because I'm inside? That's my question. Silence.
Yeah. I guess so, because I guess you'd probably be prepared for it. But I think the point still stands that if your mood was as you've described it, pretty much solely reflective on the weather or taking that kind of thing with you, then that wouldn't discriminate from people that have outside jobs and things like that, and people that would work outside. So I think there would be some element that yes, it would affect them, I guess, but I think they would have a heightened awareness of it, being that is their job, I guess.
I personally, I don't know about you guys, but I've always wanted to have an office job, and I wonder where it's affected me. Like, I didn't ever want to go and work outside. My ambition when I left school was, I just want to get a job where I've got a computer and I'm at a desk. That's it. That was like in an office, and that's what I wanted to do. That's all my ambition was. And I didn't fancy, I didn't fancy being outside really. You my wife just went, what's that about? What's that about?
You don't like doing anything outside.
Oh,
Get that grass cut, Joe. Get that grass cut.
Exactly.
Right, come here. Have I cut the grass?
Yeah.
You heard that on the podcast.
Begrudgingly.
Yes, definitely.
You never change, Joe. You never change.
I did cut it. But yeah, so yeah, and I think for me it's that whole thing around that I do like being inside. I don't like the out. I don't really like that weather. But what I did do is I forced myself to have cold showers, as you know.
Yeah.
I forced myself to go out on a walk when it's cold. When people say, "Oh, it's raining, I'm not going for a walk," I say, "Yes, we're going for a walk," because it's that whole thing about, doing that. I've got Kazza saying, we've got a hi, live to dream forever. Welcome. So Kazza's on here, Jen, saying getting grief from Jen, laughing face. Actually,
this is what I like. This is what the podcast should be for. It's how much trouble can we get Joe in?
Well, don't start, Lee, because you know I'm going to go to in a minute.
Yeah, so, I know what's coming, so I'm just getting my shots in early.
Ryan, get ready for this. Right, everybody in the podcast, just wait for this. What Lee's going to get in a bit later, so we're just going to continue with that later. Anyway, carry on, Lee.
Back on subject. So, what do you do with the show? How much does it affect you, and what are your mechanisms that you use?
So I'm really trying to be more conscious. I think it does, and I'm trying to be more conscious, like to do things. Like every morning I go for a walk. It doesn't matter whether it's cold out there. I'll go for a morning walk. I'm going for a morning walk before I start my work. I do the cold showers. Doesn't matter if it's cold outside. The cold showers still happen, right? But before, I was conscious, and what Ryan was saying about the internal talk is I got too cold to have a cold shower. It's too cold because it's cold outside. I'm not going to have the cold shower because I can justify not doing it. I can justify not going for that walk because it's raining. I can justify not doing those things. Like even when I went running, I hadn't gone for a while, to be fair. But when it was like raining and there was like footwear and it's like puddles, I still went running. Whereas before I started this personal journey, I wouldn't do it because it's raining and it's horrible. And so even when I was a young child playing football, I didn't like playing in the snow. I didn't like playing. But now I'm older, I'm thinking, actually, that probably played against me in terms of building resilience, building conscious awareness about pushing through. I'm not saying pushing through, just pushing through step, because if you don't feel great, like Lee, you had some time off, didn't you, last week? Like, you do need time off, but it's like those things where we know we should be doing it, and we know we're almost like putting that excuse in the way not to do it because it's a bit easier to say, oh, it's a bit rainy, I don't need to go out. And that's really sort of things I'm talking about, And going back to the taking your weather with you, can you take that weather with you when it's raining outside? Can you take that weather with you when you're having a cold shower? Can you take that weather with you when you're doing the hard cycling? Can I take my weather with me when I'm having to eat clean? Those types of things. And I'm doing this to remind myself that I need to stay on point. Because even then, I still get distracted. I still eat things I shouldn't be eating. I'm still doing my cold showers. They're good things, but there's also things I've been challenged about, right? And so I suppose it's like circling all the way back. It's like a metaphorical question for all that, really. So, yeah, what are your thoughts around that?
I think it's a really good, on the resiliency point, I think it's a really good message. It's so easy to give in to what your mind is telling you, back to our chimp paradox. It's so easy to give in to what your chimp is telling you all the time. Whereas actually having that consciousness to push through, like you said, to not give in to the easy excuse, because actually it being cold outside shouldn't affect you having the cold shower. It's just a nice, easy excuse to not do the difficult thing.
Yeah.
And for the sake, I did it for my brief flirtation with running last year. I was determined that whatever the weather was, and there were several days when it was raining, and I still went for the run when I was in that really determined mood to do it and to push through and to not use that excuse. But I can see probably towards the end how I would have used that as a reason to not do something. I kind of wanted a reason to be given to me to not do something. And I suppose that's where the difference comes in, isn't it? Where's the kind of physical sunlight, vitamin D actually affecting your motivation, and what just makes it a nice, easy excuse, even if it's just, I'm going to be in a crap mood because it's a bit rainy outside, and I'm going to tell everyone I'm in a crap mood because it's a bit rainy outside.
Yeah.
And I'd saying as someone who's probably done that as well.
I think we've all done it. I know I have. And I think that's that whole awareness about knowing when you're doing it, but it's catching it, isn't it? It's hard to catch it.
Yeah.
Hard to catch when you're doing that. And this is what I want to say to people. It's like, I want to say to our audience, it's, what do? Are you giving yourself the out? Are you giving yourself that excuse, the weather excuse, whatever, where you could really do it? You just want it to be a reason that lets you off the hook. And you know what? Even can come from other people. So like, Joe, don't work so hard because you've been working ages, or Joe, you don't need to go for a run today because it is a bit rainy out there. Why don't you just stay in and watch a bit of TV, have a biscuit? Other people can let you off the hook, and actually the people that really care for you can get you on the hook, get you off the hook. When you know you've got to do it. Had an experience of that? I have.
I was going to say, I feel you're giving out a subliminal message here, Joe.
What do you think it is?
That you didn't like your day off yet to take a few weeks ago.
I didn't even think about that, but you brought my awareness. I did find that quite difficult, and because I think the habit's so ingrained now, it's quite hard not to want to do it. There's an
advert on a little while ago talking about this thing. I think it was for like an army recruitment advert or something like that, and it was showing someone doing a walk through the desert or something, and the thing it was showing was all the people, his friend who's drunk saying, don't do that, just come out and have a drink, and things like that, where people were, it's exactly that. It was all the people saying, don't do what you want to do, come and do what I'm doing over here because it's easy. And it was exactly that same thing you're talking about, where people can lead you astray from what you want to do with no intention that that's what they're trying to do, but it's easy to fall into that and be given excuses to not do things based on someone else's wants or desires, which are never going to align with yours. No one wants exactly the same thing.
It comes out of care, though. They're doing it for
absolutely.
Hey, Joe, don't do that because we want you to have a relaxing time. But really, you need to go do it, right? Like, Joe, why are we cold showers for? You don't need a cold shower. You get my mum will say, "Why are you doing cold showers for? You want to just keep warm, But actually, I know I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I want to build mental resilience. That's what I want. I want to say that when I say I'm going to do something, I go and do it. And I don't always do it, but I want to be conscious that I do that more often than I don't. And going back to James Clear's book about atomic habits, he said that you've got to put a vote in for the person you want to become. Now, as long as you may do it, you may not do it, but as long as the votes outweigh the person that you want to become, then you're going to win most times than not.
Yeah.
And you're going to become that person. And I've definitely felt that over the last couple of years, I've definitely become a different person. And I suppose it's only really sort of, people outside noticing. I was speaking to a wife the other day, and I said, "Well, what do you reckon? Where do you think? What do you think I am?" She said, "Well, Joe, I reckon you're driven." I've never had anyone said that to me before because I didn't think I was ever driven. But when I'm talking about Inspiration Nation, I suppose I am because I'm very determined on a weekend.
You absolutely are. Absolutely.
With this passionate project, it's that I am driven to it, and I want to do it. So people say, don't do the video this week. You don't like you. And you said that you don't do the video. Take the day off. I really want to do it, and I did take the day off, but I did the pre-record because, like Ryan said, so thanks, man. That's the thing. You want to hit a goal. You want to be amazing. You've got to pay a price. It doesn't. You've got to make a decision. Is it going to be your Netflix series or your soaps or the weather outside, or is it going to be the thing you want to get to? What is it to be? Because if you're going to sort of sit down and just, let yourself off the hook, let's be honest, it ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen because you're not putting in the work. If you don't put in the work, it's got no chance of happening. Now, I'm not talking about going crazy on the amount of work. It's got to be a certain amount of work. It's got to be a certain amount of focus, a certain amount of energy. And you can't hope it's going to happen. You've got to put things in your calendar to make it happen. And that's what I'm talking about. So, taking your weather with you, all these things impact those things. It's a culminant effect. And I want people to just be aware of that as they're going through their everyday lives. This is not just a like next week. This is like right now. This is right like tomorrow morning. Every single day is that awareness to know, where am I headed? Am I making the excuse? You know, when things are bad, what's the reason it's bad? Can I look for the good, right? Mindset. And that's what I'm going to finish on that.
I love it. It's good. Nina's just said there where we said about people leading you astray. She's been there, people pleasing. I can say as well, I've been that place as well. It's exactly, you know, fitting in, but that isn't, you know, that's why I say your goals aren't often what everyone else's are. And it's all about pushing through. It's a really good observation. And I think what you say, Joe, is really good and it's really strong. A strong place to end on, which I think probably opens the door that you can give me my verbal bashing on the podcast before I wrap us up.
Right, Ryan, do you want to go for that? You go, Ryan, you can lead.
No, you go, mate. You go. You've been building it up.
Right, where's that hoodie, Lee Kemp?
It's downstairs in another room in the house.
Guys, he's got his hoodie. Also, where's
I'm
that
out
mug?
of uniform. I haven't ordered it yet either.
Where's the mug?
Right. I will load up right now and I'll say it so everyone else knows it's there. InspirationNation.org.uk. Here we go. We'll go to it now, if I can type properly, and I will hit the shop button and I will order myself some Inspiration Nation merch. Oh, look, t-shirts are here, hoodies, mugs. I'm going to get a mug, face mask as well. They are all there.
Face mask and hoodie as well. Did you say the Jose Noya hoodie? I think you were talking about.
That's exactly what I'm going to get. It's all there. I'd encourage everyone listening, head over inspirationnation.org.uk.
So, Ryan, there's still one other thing that we still got to hold him to account. Do you know what it is?
I think that's too much.
No, it's not too much.
So for those watching on YouTube, they will notice that my background is different. And that's because I'm in a different room in my house, which is well away from the storage place for the thing Joe's going to ask me about, which is no coincidence.
What am I going to ask you, Lee?
Have I filled anything in my journal?
What's happened, Lee?
I thought about it sometimes, but I've not wrote anything in it.
This is the critical key, people, about action. When you just say it's going to happen someday, some week, it doesn't happen because I thought about it, but there's no action. And that's what's happening, right? Still nothing in it. And what did it say on the front of that book?
It's, I can't even remember now.
Oh, my Lord. Lee, what's going on?
That's it. Thank you, Nina. She's saying 3, 2, 1, Inspiration Nation. It's about that time to wrap us up.
Hang on. No. Leave them in a better place than you found people, right? It's about...
That's it. That's what it says.
I remember more than you, Lee. Come on, man.
I feel like I'm getting unneeded pressure here, Joe. Unneeded pressure for my good but not followed through on intentions.
So next week, right? That's something in that journal, will we? That's something.
I'm going to sit here like a mannequin for Inspiration Nation, covered head to toe in Inspiration Nation merchandise. Again, inspirationnation.org.uk, with a journal so full of words we wouldn't even have time to discuss them all.
No, Lee, just one more question about the journal. Right, so thinking about what you said about this journal, what you're going to be doing with people, have you left people in a better place than when you found them?
I like to think so, yes, on a number. And this is where I say I think about it. I've thought about the things I want to write in there. I just haven't followed through on the writing them down.
What is the things you've been thinking about then? What have you specifically been thinking about in respect of that?
Well, it's reflecting back on conversations.
Okay.
And a lot of this, because it's where my day-to-day happens, is conversations I have with people in my workplace, so I can't really talk about them on here. But times when I like to think that I've taken an approach that is doing that mentality.
Okay, next week then?
Yes, next
week.
When
you're writing it, Lee? So it only happens when you're what date, what time, and when. Evan Carmichael, the science says, as long as you write down a time and a date, it's more likely to happen than not. So,
okay. The 29th of January 2025, I will definitely have something.
Too far. This is what happens when people aren't want to be held accountable, guys.
It'll be in by the weekend, Joe. It'll be in by the weekend.
When's the weekend? What's the date of the weekend, Lee?
Saturday.
What's the date on Saturday?
I don't know. Saturday to something.
No something. There's no
24th.
Date.
It'll be in there by 23:59 on Friday, the 23rd of April in the year of our Lord 2021.
That's brilliant. See, there's no such day as Sunday. There's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. No Sunday or one day, or it might be day. There is only days of the week and there's only dates. So thank you, Lee. I appreciate you. And thank you for doing that. So carry on, Lee. You can carry on now.
And we thank everyone out there for listening once again to Inspiration Nation. We are here each and every Tuesday across all podcast platforms. On YouTube, just look for Jose Noya Inspiration Nation. And of course, catch us on Joe's Instagram each and every Tuesday at 8:30 GMT, which is 3:30 EST, I think. Out in America, out in the States. All other time zones exist and are relevant as well. So follow us on social media at Listen to IN, Listen TOIN. Joe, of course, just put Jose Noya Inspiration Nation into any search engine on any social media platform and you will find him. And of course, sign up for Joe's newsletter. Head over to jncoachingtechnologies.weebly.com and you can sign up for Joe's weekly, bi-weekly, whatever it is, newsletter. Lots of great stuff in there.
So Nina's actually, do you want to give some shout outs on that?
Absolutely.
Do you want to do it, Lee? Or can you see
what's going on? I'd have to squint my little eyes. We thank everyone joining on Instagram. There's been a lot of people coming through this week, which is fantastic. Nina, thank you very much.
I like that.
The time is saved now. The time is saved.
Down by our listeners.
I will not let everyone down on doing this. We thank everyone for joining Instagram. We're trying to interact as much as possible. We really appreciate it. We do want to be the most interactive podcast that there is. We'll be back again next Tuesday. I will now count us down. 3, 2, 1. Inspiration Nation. Catch you guys later.
So guys, I want you to know what was your single biggest takeaway from this video. I want you to put it in the description below and hashtag it with Inspiration Nation, because it's important that you take something away and work on it so you can get to your next level. So you can catch all our other Inspiration Nation podcast episodes right over here, so go check them out. And also don't forget to subscribe, because that will tell you when your next video goes live by you hitting that amazing bell. So until next time, it's Inspiration Nation, and I'll see you right over there.